Alrighty, everybody. What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to another live stream, you guys. Hope everyone is doing well and having a beautiful morning here. First things first, before we really get on into it here, I have got to give a massive shout out to Yekno. I think that's how you say your name, for the $20 super chat just before we started the stream. So thank you so much, Yekno. I really appreciate it. Saying Central Connecticut, let it snow. Almost forgot to say great coverage. Thank you so much, Yekno. That is greatly appreciated, my friend. Seriously, you did not have to do that. I really appreciate it, and I hope you get your snow that you want here. But anyways, guys, good morning. Hope everyone's doing well. We got ourselves quite a storm that is ahead of us here. They have really expanded a lot of these blizzard warnings all the way down to pretty much the lower Chesapeake out here in southern Virginia, going up through Maryland's coast, the entire state of Delaware, the entire state of New Jersey, Long Island as a whole, southern Connecticut, the entire state of Rhode Island, and eastern Massachusetts are all under blizzard warnings here that is in effect. Now, some of these areas, I tell you what, are going to be seeing quite a significant amount of snowfall. I mean, we're talking a good, 1 to 2 feet, maybe even locally higher amounts in some spots. It's definitely going to be pretty wild here. Anyways, let's see. Free as can be says, any issues for Western Pennsylvania? It depends on how far west you are. Like areas like Pittsburgh, you can see don't have any warnings or any advisories or anything like that. But yeah, the main concerns are going to be for the eastern side of Pennsylvania here, as well as we do have, of course, quite a bit of impacts here for central Pennsylvania as well. Anyways, yeah, it just depends on exactly where you're at. I mean, if you'd like, I could look at a specific zip code forecast for you if you want me to. I would be willing to do that. Let's see, what's up? Is your name Kaiser? I'm not too sure how you say your name, but they're saying hello. What's up? Good to see you, my friend. But anyways, let's hop over to models. We got quite a nasty storm on our hands here. So let's hop over here. We're going to pull up our future radar. Looking at precipitation type and rate here. So this is the 06 UTCH run. So basically, this was a run from this morning. So we work our way down in time. Now, right now, it's obviously right around 6 o'clock. I'm actually going to pull up our current observations here. Let's go ahead and load up that now. So the first thing I want to look at actually is the radar before we get into the future radar, because it's good to know what's going on now, and knowing what to expect after that. But yeah, let's bring up our precipitation type. So here's our current radar. You can see that we have a bit of rain across Virginia, bits of North Carolina here. This low down here is really going to start to, kick off here just east of, North Carolina. We're going to start to get a low that's really going to start to strengthen quite a bit as it works its way to the northeast here. But right now we are seeing a lot of rain out here by the mid-Atlantic, but not the same can be said for bits of the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes here. We have ourselves some pretty good snow. A lot of lake effect snow going on here across like Michigan, Ohio, Indiana. Quite a bit of snow is starting to fall out here, as well as areas out by like Pennsylvania. You can see quite a bit of snow that is already starting to fall. You can already start to see, for some of those upper elevations of like West Virginia, towards like the panhandle of West Virginia, you can see that we are starting to see maybe a little bit of heavier snow. Now is when we hop over here to the models and we can actually project this down in time. So current time right now is about 6 o'clock. So this is kind of where we're at right here. This is where the models kind of show us at the moment. So we work our way later on down in time. We'll go to right around noon here this afternoon. You can see that at this point, we're still likely seeing some pretty heavy snow falling across portions here of Pennsylvania, including the central, as well as portions of the eastern side of Pennsylvania. But around this time, we'll also be seeing quite a bit of rain mixing in, because the problem with this system, at least in the beginning part of the system, is a bit of warm air in the lower atmosphere, which is going to be interfering with the pure snow. So if you wanted it to be pure snow, you need cool enough conditions, not just on your ground level, but also your upper levels of the atmosphere. In this case, we are having a little bit of warm air involvement in the lower atmosphere, which is kind of allowing for it to kind of teeter-totter between between rain and snow, which will really affect some areas' accumulations, especially out by the mid-Atlantic here. But that can't really be said for the Northeast here because it'll get pretty crazy later on as we're getting ready to see. But anyways. But yeah, so right around noon, we'll be seeing quite a bit of heavy snow. Still snowing pretty good up by the Blue Ridge Mountains. Quite a bit of, lake effect snow still going on over here by the Ohio Valley. So then we approach our way over here into right around 6 o'clock p.m. Now, by this point, this is where everything really starts to get crazy. You can really start to see at this point, right around 6 p.m., obviously not too long after that, the sun would start setting, as well as, we'll start to drop the temperatures here quite a bit. We'll also be bringing in some cooler air from the northwest will be starting to work its way and kind of wrapping into this low here, which will be cooling things down a bit up top. So at this point for 6 p.m. Eastern, still probably seeing maybe a little bit of rain, some snow mix over, central Virginia, bits of Maryland. But for a lot of the Northeast here, out there by like, Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, we're going to be likely starting to see some pretty good snowfall, and not only seeing some pretty decent snowfall, but also the rates of which we are seeing these snow accumulate here, will really start to rise as we're going to start to see likely some bigger flakes around this point. So then we approach our way right around midnight here. So basically going into, going into Monday. And right at this point, this is going to be like peak storm intensity, or actually near peak storm intensity, because the storm is actually just going to continue to get stronger as we work our way down in time. But at this point, we'll be having some of the heaviest amounts of snow falling here for early Monday morning. And you can really see, some really heavy rates falling down at this point in time. And we're seeing some pretty good snowfall, likely for a lot of the coast. And around this time, too, we'll also be seeing a lot of really heavy winds. That's going to be another big concern on this storm here, is, damaging winds associated with the system here. So not only do we got to watch out for the heavy snow, but we also got to look out for the strong winds too, which, this is a blizzard. Definitely is quite a nasty storm here. Free as can be. Okay, there's that zip code. Let me see what you got going on for you, my friend. Let's hop on over here real fast. So you're outside of the watches, warnings, and advisories. So you should be pretty good. It does look like we have a little bit of snow in the area right now. If we look at the current radar, you can see. There's some snow out near you, but yeah, you're probably not going to see anything significant. You're not in any warnings or watches or advisories, so you're good. But not the same can be said for areas east of you, because that's where it starts picking up quite a bit. Grandma Julie says, wow, this one is massive storm, that is one massive storm. I think Michigan will be out of it. So Michigan will be out of this main system, but, you guys are still going to be seeing some snowfall, of course. You're out of the main system, but we do have quite a bit of lake effect snow going on over here by the Great Lakes right now. You'll be seeing some of that, but yeah, the main snowfall you can see is going to be over here towards, the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast here. That's where like the heaviest, of the snow is going to be out. So, but yeah, Michigan should be out of the main mass here. Let's see here. Angela says, I have family in Newport News area. Gotcha. Well, the good news about Newport News, you guys ain't supposed to get it as crazy as, say, other areas further up northeast here. Now, Newport News here, as of right now, we do have a winter weather advisory from the Weather Service saying that snow accumulations up to 2 inches and some wind gusts as high as 40 miles per hour. So what the winds could peak up to for a given moment, for a few seconds usually, could peak up to 40 miles an hour. Yeah, like I said, snow accumulations up to 2 inches. That's really not a whole lot of snow per se, but it really starts to pick up quite a bit the farther northeast we go. Out here by like Delaware, of course, it's a drastic change. Look at this: 12 to 20 inches with gusts as high as 45 miles per hour. It's pretty darn crazy. Pretty crazy. Angela says, "Thanks for coming on live early." Of course. I'm glad to be here for you guys. Like I said, we're here to help y'all out, and if y'all have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. What's up, Scott? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Joey says, let's see, for Rhode Island, we could see some historical amounts. Rhode Island, is definitely going to be seeing quite a bit. Right now, the the current National Weather Service, has you, or the warning has you for 1 to 2 foot of snow. And look at this, wind gusting as high as 70 miles per hour. With such a strong low really strengthening here just off the coast, there's going to be a huge change in pressure. And because of that, we're going to be seeing some really strong winds whipping up because of that. Definitely is really going to explode in strength here. I mean, it's going to go pretty much from a normal low to a really strong low in as little as like less than 24 hours. It's going to be ridiculous. I mean, some models are even showing the low getting down well into the 970s, maybe even the 960 millibar range. Really, really strong low. And that's actually kind of equivalent to right around a Category 2, maybe Category 3 hurricane. Now, obviously, it's not a hurricane, of course, we know that, but the pressure is equivalent to maybe about a Category 1, or sorry, Category 2 or Category 3, which is pretty crazy. And, of course, having wind gusts in your case in Rhode Island up to 70 miles an hour, I mean, that's upper level tropical storm force. That's definitely pretty crazy. Anyways, Kim says stay safe, everyone. Absolutely. Yeah, you guys, please stay safe out there. I'll be here to help you guys out through a lot of this here, just to, hang out with y'all and just make sure you guys are staying weather aware. And if y'all have any questions, like I said, please do not hesitate to ask. I'm here to help you guys. That's what we're here for. What's up, Tom? Good to see you. Angela says thank you. Of course, you're very welcome. Tiffany says, can you tell me how the winds are looking like here, please? Absolutely. I got you. Here, let's pull up your area. Let's see what we got going on here. Okay, so you're up by like New York City area. You do have a blizzard warning in effect here. So I know you didn't ask for snow accumulations, but your accumulations from the Weather Service has you in between 16 to 24 inches of snow. That is ridiculous. A minimum of 16. That's over a foot with up to 24 inches. But winds could gust as high as 60 miles per hour out here. So definitely seeing some pretty strong winds. Now, like I said, wind gusts, I don't know if you know what the difference between wind gusts and sustained winds is. Sustained winds is constant winds blowing, for a while. Now, then you have wind gusts. This is what the winds could peak to. Just usually for a couple of seconds, the winds could really pick up to, higher speeds for just a brief moment. And in this case, gust up to 60 means that the winds could briefly get up to about 60 miles an hour or so. So definitely still pretty crazy, and we'll is something that you do need to look out for. If you have anything loose outside, I'd recommend bringing it in. That goes for everybody involved here, with this system. I do heavily recommend that you bring any loose objects that you have outside, inside here. So, anyways, let's see here. Rose says sister in Tennessee, 3842. I don't think that's a zip code. Let's see here. Kit says, good morning, Andrew. I'm in Stratford, Connecticut. Expecting a lot of snow. Heavy, wet snow. Yeah, you are. You definitely are. Here, let me pull up your zip code, Kidder. We'll see. Or did I say Kidder? I'm sorry, Kitmar. I apologize. It is early in the morning. I ain't gonna lie. I woke up not too long ago, so... Anyways, you got a blizzard warning in effect, 16 to 24 inches, and winds gusting as high as 60. So basically the same thing as, New York City was expecting with that overall. But yeah, definitely pretty good amount. You definitely want to brace for it. It'll be heavy. Tiffany says, thanks, no problem. Rose, okay, there we go. There's a zip code, 38042. Let's see what we got going on here. This is up in Tennessee. Yeah, Tennessee's fine. They're not going to get impacted by the storm. The storm is way farther east than they are, so we're good. Joey says, I'll keep you posted on what's going on here in Rhode Island, especially later tonight. Yes, please do. Please let us know. And if you want to also submit any snow photos or anything, you can do so on our Twitter or X here. Which I'll go ahead and let y'all know. I haven't been on Twitter in so long. But if you guys do want to send us stuff, we are NWW116_WX on X here. So you guys can see. I don't know if you can see that or not. But yeah, NWW116_ I know it's pretty blurry. NWW116_WX. So, if you guys want to send any snow total photos or whatever, you can do it there. We'll probably be live again later tonight too. So I do plan on covering quite a bit of the storm here. Absolutely. Let's see. Kaiser, I think it's your name, saying, is my zip code, we'll see snow. Let me pull up your zip code here. Let's see what we got going on for you. Okay, so you're in northern New York. You're in upper, kind of Yeah, you're kind of in middle upper New York. So you're not under any warnings, watches, or advisories right now from the Weather Service. But yeah, most of the storm will be mostly east of you. If I look at the model here, you can see this is the HRRR, the 06 run. So you're up here. You're up in this region. And as we progress down in time, you can see the majority of the storm is going to be just east of you. You're over in this area here. And so, yeah, the system will just remain east of you. So you're not going to really have any impacts with this. But, you'll probably see some snow here. I mean, we do have a lot of lake effect snow going on, too, over the Great Lakes region. So definitely seeing quite a bit of that. But, yeah, I mean, you're not going to be dealing with the main blizzard portion of the storm here. So you should be all right. Let's see. Tiffany says, I'm on the 13th floor clearing my patio at daybreak. There you go. Yeah, definitely bring any loose objects inside. Steven says, is this live? No, it's not live. Yes, it's live. See, please bring in pets too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Don't want to leave them out in this mess. Let's see here. But anyways, yeah, so definitely is going to be quite a nasty storm here. Let's hop back to the warnings, watches, and advisories. So, like I mentioned, we have a lot of blizzard warnings now in effect here. You guys can really see where a lot of these are. If I go ahead and draw here, I mean, you can see that we do have ourselves a lot of blizzard warnings. I mean, these extend all the way throughout a lot of the coastal Northeast here. I mean, obviously we have bits of Maryland and Virginia, Delaware, New Jersey, even portions of eastern Pennsylvania, I believe just shy of Philadelphia. Then, of course, we have, New York City included here. We do have southern Connecticut. We do have Rhode Island here, eastern Massachusetts. I don't know if I already said Long Island, but all of Long Island's under this blizzard warning too. So definitely going to see some pretty heavy, some pretty heavy amounts of snowfall, and also with that as well, really strong winds too. I mean, we're seeing some crazy amounts. Look at this one. This one's showing 20 to 28 inches and gusting as high as 60 miles per hour. I mean, they range quite a bit. This one's 16 to 24. Rhode Island out here, this is 1 to 2 feet, so 12 to 24. I don't know why they do that. I don't know why they say 1 to 2 feet, and then the other is they say like an actual range that's over 2 feet. I mean, like this one for 16 to 24 inches. I mean, that's, yeah. I don't know. I don't know why they didn't say the 16 to 2 feet. It's weird how they do some of the wording here, but anyways, yeah, definitely seeing a lot of totals, and like I said, it's not just the snow that's the problem; it's the winds too. I mean, some areas could see some really strong winds, possibly 60, 70 mile an hour wind gusts or greater. Definitely some heavy stuff. Let's see. Snow drifts will be huge with the storm. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a thing with not only heavy snow but strong winds, is you really get a lot of pileups. So the winds will be really kind of pushing the snow against buildings and stuff like that, and that'll make the accumulation seem higher in some spots. Whenever it's not, because it kind of pushes up a bunch of snow. Let's see here. Moisture is pushing up the coast. Yeah, it is, and there's a lot of moisture involved with this storm, and just the sheer strength of this system is crazy. I mean, this storm here is really, really packing a punch. And like I said, the models, they suggested that the pressure within this storm will likely get down into the 970 millibar range, possibly even lower. Possibly even lower here. Let's actually bring up the mean sea level pressure here. We'll go ahead and show you guys this. Which that way you guys can kind of see what we're looking at here. Here, let's make them white. We'll increase the width a bit so you guys can see that low. I mean, it's a very impressive low. Yeah, this is the HRRR, and at this hour, this is 1 p.m. on Monday, showing that central low down to 969 millibars. So it'll probably drop to maybe lower 970s, maybe upper 960s is what a lot of models are actually suggesting that. So, I mean, it's going to be a big one. That's for sure. Let's see here. Cody says, "Do I think we'll at least get an inch of snow here?" Thank you. Yep. Let me go ahead and pull this up for you. See what we got going on for you, Cody. So out here we have a special weather statement. Let's see what this is all about. Light snow accumulations are expected at times this afternoon. Wind gusts as high as 30 miles an hour. It says quick light snow accumulations, especially during the daytime hours today and Monday. Most area will see accumulations of around an inch or less. So up to an inch is possible. So not really a whole lot, yeah. You'll see a little bit, but not a lot. Steven says a hurricane snowstorm. Yeah, they're pretty darn similar. I mean, obviously hurricanes are a lot different in how they form and how they maintain themselves, because they rely on the heat from the ocean. But in this case, I mean, these winter storms, these winter setups are really they're different. But pressure-wise, the pressure equivalence is, like I mentioned earlier, equivalent to basically about a Category 2, maybe Cat 3 hurricane. If the pressure gets down to lower 970s, upper 960s, yeah, that's pretty darn low pressure. And because of that, we're going to be having some really strong winds here too. Because you guys can really see how tight these isobars are. These each line represents an area of equal pressure. So if you follow a line, it remains that same pressure as you follow it. And these lines tell you that the pressure is changing here, and given how tight they are, really shows you, just how quickly the pressure is dropping, over a short distance. And the tighter they are, usually the stronger the winds are, because the flow is increased. The speed of which the flow is moving is increased. So, pretty crazy. Let's see here. Do millibars rate differently for hurricanes? Not necessarily for snow. I mean, pressure in general is the same for either a non-tropical low or a tropical low. Pressure getting down to this low for either system is strong. Down in 970 range is very strong for both a hurricane or a non-tropical low. There's really no difference in the pressure between the two. I mean, obviously, sometimes it just depends on the storm. Some storms can get stronger than others, but it means the same for both storms if that's what you're asking. Yeah. Let's see here. Studi says expecting amount for New York City. Yeah, New York City is going to get quite a bit actually. Here, let's hop back over here. NYC is going to be getting a lot. They have a blizzard warning in effect, 16 to 24 inches in the forecast here from the Weather Service, in which we could see some gusts as high as 60 miles per hour. Definitely seeing some really strong winds here too. So, like I said, not to mention not just the heavy snow, but also adding the winds to it as well, which makes a lot of sense. You can really see, like we were mentioning just a minute ago, how tight these isobars are. You can see that they do kind of tense up quite a bit, or they do tend to squish together quite a bit, in which that'll really really allow for those strong winds to occur. Here, let's actually bring up the. I'm actually going to make a new panel here. We're going to pull up the same model. We're going to have the HRRR here. So we'll go mesoscale. So I do want to pull up the winds for a moment. I should be able to have. I think I have a workflow somewhere. Let's see, surface. We'll do. Where's surface winds? I know I have one somewhere, maybe. I thought I did. Maybe I'll have to just load it. Anyways, let's just do that. We'll do it manually here. Anyway, so let's pull up our winds. We'll do our 10-meter wind speed. So 10 meters is about 30 foot. So we'll bring up the winds here. But I am going to load my custom color table I have because I like my neon one better. So very bright, but it shows you the difference in colors there. Correlating to a specific wind speed. But anyway, so yeah, you can see as we work way down in time, these winds are really going to be ramping up. I'm a little concerned, especially for like eastern Massachusetts coast, because, as the system really rolls through, these are sustained winds, constant winds. But one thing you can notice here is that these winds are going to be aimed right at the coast, which is going to be kind of pushing that water against the coast, which could cause some swelling, possibly some coastal flooding and stuff. Because, these little flags here, these wind barbs, they are showing about 55 knots. And not to mention the gusts are going to be higher. This is just sustained wind, so constant winds. This is particularly for 1 p.m. on Monday from the HRRR. And so you can see that these barbs are really just kind of aimed right at the coast there, which the winds are going to get pretty darn crazy. As the same for a lot of people too, but you can see the wind barbs kind of pulling away from the coast. There's going to be a lot of concerns here for the coast. Not just coastal flooding, but also like rip currents and stuff like that too, which I would not go out in the water. I mean, not that anybody really would be, I wouldn't think, because I'm sure the water is really cold. But some people, they probably would like to go out in the water, which I would not recommend. Do not do it because it is way too dangerous. But yeah, I mean, like I said, just really, really, really strong winds are going to be associated with this storm here. I mean, in some areas we're talking sustained, out off the coast here of a good 60, 70 miles an hour. Now let's bring up those wind gusts. Now these are what the winds could, actually peak to for, usually a few seconds. But in terms of wind gusts, yeah, it's going to be pretty brutal for the most part. So areas out by like Nantucket could be seeing gusts as high as a good 70 to 80 miles an hour. Same thing for a lot of really just eastern Massachusetts. We'll be seeing some really strong winds. I mean, possibly even hurricane force wind gusts out here. It's definitely going to be pretty heavy here overall. Don't mean to draw there. I do it all the time, man. But also eastern Long Island here, could see some really strong wind gusts here. Rhode Island, 60, maybe 70 mile an hour wind gusts or so. Obviously, the closer you are to the coast, the better or the stronger the winds are going to be. Coastal New Jersey, according to HRRR, could be a good 60, maybe 70 mile per hour wind gusts out here. Really some strong winds. I mean, yeah, coastal, Delaware here too, maybe a good 60 mile an hour wind gusts or so. So it'll definitely be packing a punch with the winds. But yeah, some of the strongest winds in this system is really going to be felt for a lot of these areas. This is where we could have 70 plus. Out in these regions here, which includes like the entire state of Rhode Island, including eastern Long Island though. Then of course we have eastern Connecticut, eastern Massachusetts included too. Can't forget Nantucket out there. They're kind of sticking out in the middle of it, So, but out in the coast, off the coast here, deeper in the water, some of these gusts could be as high as maybe 90 to 100 mile an hour wind gusts. So. Would not advise that you guys are out boating in this. If there's anybody out here that's, out there in a boat around this time, I would not recommend it. Which I know a lot of boaters tend to navigate around these storms, which is good, which you need to because it's gonna get nasty. Yeah, these winds are very aggressive, very, very aggressive. So I do expect there to be quite a lot of power outages involved here too, with this system. So we'll definitely need to just really keep an eye on it. Anyway, so here is the current radar. This is what the system looks like right now. It's still in the early stages. It's not quite at a super strong system yet, but it's definitely getting itself together. You can see a lot of rain off the coast of the Carolinas here, including North Carolina seeing quite a bit of rain. Virginia, even a little bit of snow starting to bleed in here too. Quite a bit of snow over across Pennsylvania, bits of New York State, a lot of lake effect snow, a lot of scattered snow showers and storms over here through the Great Lakes region. But yeah, you can see that still a lot of precipitation is falling across the Mid-Atlantic. This will, like I said, this system will really start to pick up, though, overnight tonight. Really this evening, this afternoon, evening, it'll really start to pick up. Everything will start, that low will start really developing. It'll start really wrapping in all this moisture, and it'll really get pretty crazy. Let's see here. Yeah, Emmanuel, that is true. You don't want to be out in the waters and stuff like that either. Like I was mentioning with these winds and stuff. A lot of people, you'd be surprised that there'd probably be some people out there trying to swim in this, even though it's really cold. Would not recommend it. Don't, because there's going to be huge problems, with rip currents and stuff like that. If you don't know what a rip current is, it's a current of water that can pull you out to sea. Even though if you swim to try to get out of it, sometimes you can't because the current is stronger. Just don't get caught in it. Like just don't go out to the coast at all. It would not be a good idea because it's going to be pretty brutal. And there's another thing is like being on the coast. I tell you what, if you've never been on the beach when it is windy, you're up for a surprise if you ever even try to go out to the coast. So don't. The reason I say that is because it hurts bad. If you go out on the coast whenever it is windy like that, you get sandblasted. If you've never been sandblasted before, it doesn't feel very nice. But yeah, I say that because one time I was on the beach during like 40, 50 mile an hour winds, and I mean, even that even that didn't feel very good. But yet alone, magnitudes of 70-mile-an-hour winds or so in some spots, that would be ridiculous. I couldn't even imagine how much that would hurt. It sucks. So just don't do that. Don't do it. But yeah, same. I mean, what Emmanuel was saying about traveling too. Yeah, don't travel in this. Just make sure you have everything ready. If not, you don't have much more time to really get ready for the system, because I mean it's right on our doorstep now. The system is obviously already starting to come together here, but kind of a last call for everybody to get ready for the system. Make sure you have enough. Make sure that you have enough food and water. If you have a generator, make sure you have enough gas for it. Even fill up your cars if you can. Just stuff like that. Just make sure it's done before the system gets here. And like I mentioned as well, it's like, you can't. I forgot what I was going to. I literally forgot what I was going to say there. I do that so often. It's like I'm sitting here talking. It's like, wait, what was I going to say again? I can't tell you how many times I've done that recently. But anyways, yeah, just bottom line, don't go out during these storms. It's not good. Obviously you don't want to get stranded. Just make sure that everything is ready to go. And if you guys have anything outside, like I mentioned before a little bit ago, anything that's loose on your porch, patios, whatever, bring it indoors. You don't want that stuff to go missing, for one. You don't want to damage or lose your property, for one, but also it could become a hazard to others. Flying objects could become a big problem, and winds are strong. So definitely would highly recommend that as well. Let's see here. Yeah, the totals with this system has been all over the place, and the reason why is the warm air involvement in the lower atmosphere. So the models, you can see here for at least the beginning part of the system, there's a lot of rain mixing in. And if I was to grab a sounding here, we're going to grab a sample of the atmosphere. And you can see if we zoom in to our SKU-T chart here. So first of all, I do want to mention here, let me bring up my pen so I can draw. Hopefully it'll, okay, of course it's not going to work. Here, let me restart this, the pen here. But basically, the freezing point you can see is this 0 degrees Celsius line. So that 0 degrees Celsius is 32 Fahrenheit, and it's slanted. Okay, so the red is your temperature line. You can see the temperature on the ground is 38 degrees in this case, which is above freezing. So anything to the left of that 0 degrees Celsius dotted line here in that kind of purplish dotted line, everything to the left is below freezing. The higher you go up on the graph, the higher you go up in altitude. Okay, so we're looking at the temperature profile throughout different altitudes here. But the thing is what I want to point out is the freezing point is not on the ground. It's up a couple thousand feet or so. And so the snow that's falling has time to melt into rain. And because of this warm air, this little blanket of warm air in the lower atmosphere and towards the surface and a little bit above it, this is really kind of mixing in a lot of rain with the snow, which makes forecasting totals extremely difficult. And some models were showing more warm air than others, and because of that, that's why they were so different in in different outputs or different outcomes, I should say. Some models were showing way more snow than others for a long time because they weren't really sure on how much warm air would be involved here with this system. And so, at least we know now from the beginning part of the system up until later this evening, there'll likely be a lot of rain mixing in for some areas, especially out by like Virginia. But then as we go into the evening, as things start to cool down, we get rid of that diurnal heating. Basically just the sun will go down, and it won't heat up the surface anymore, and it'll start to cool off. Not to mention, also with that strong low developing here, with us getting that low that's really going to be strengthening here, it's actually going to be pulling down some more cooler air from the northwest. So, these systems, because of how strong that it's going to be getting, these low pressure systems in the northern hemisphere, they rotate counterclockwise, and they really tend to stir up the atmosphere quite a bit. So, yeah, definitely is going to be quite a strong low. But yeah, by the time we approach the evening today, it'll convert from a lot of rain to just pretty much pure snow. So, anyways, don't want to bore you guys too much here. Ragtide says we're down in the southwestern corner of Pennsylvania farmlands, about 20 minutes from West Virginia state line, and we're barely having a dusting of snow. Yeah, it changes quite a bit the more you go out that way. I mean, obviously we have quite a few areas, a lot of areas actually in West Virginia under winter storm warnings here, but their totals, I mean, could be pretty decent in some spots, but they're not nearly as high as they're going to be up here, by the coast here. It's going to be a lot heavier over here by the coast, essentially. Let's see here. All right, sounds good, Rose. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, guys, if y'all have any questions, be sure to let us know. We'll be here to help you guys out. If y'all want me to do any zip code forecasts or anything like that, I'll be more than happy to do so. But like I said, the storm is definitely going to be quite strong. We're going to hop back over to current radar. So this is what the system looks like as of right now. You can see that, we have a little bit of snow mixing in over by the Blue Ridge here up in northern Virginia, bits of Maryland seeing a little bit of snow, quite a bit of snow over by like Pennsylvania, bits of the Northeast, and, of course, the Great Lakes with a lot of lake effect snow right now. We do have a lot of, rain that is falling over there, over by the lower mid-Atlantic. Over here by the Carolinas and just off the Carolina coast. Now, what's going to happen, as we work our way down in time, essentially, we're going to have that low really start to strengthen and pull itself over here to the northeast. And as it does so, it's going to really pick up in strength. We're going to really start to see a lot of those, a lot of that moisture wrapping into the system and, really start to increase the rates at which, we have snow fall, in which, a lot of those coastal areas are going to be really be seeing some heavy snowfall rates. So that'll be happening later on. Let's see here. Bill says, how is Essex and Bergen County in New Jersey looking? Let me pull it up. We'll see what we got going on for you. I'll pull up the Essex County here up in New Jersey. All right, so this area is under a blizzard warning. So the National Weather Service has you in for totals up to 18 to 22 inches. Winds gusting as high as 50. So yeah, it's not just a snow concern. Like we mentioned, it's also the winds being a big concern too. So, you're going to have a lot of blowing snow. And because we're seeing some heavy snowfall rates, the rate at which snow is falling, some pretty big flakes too. In addition to that, we're having the strong winds. So that's going to be allowing for a lot of blowing snow, which is going to reduce visibilities. Really strong winds is a problem on its own. And, of course, heavy snow. So those are all conditions for, blizzard conditions. So blizzard conditions are basically when you have heavy snow, of course, strong winds, that lasts typically for at least 3 hours is what the criteria from the Weather Service has it. But yeah, so really low visibilities, heavy snow, and strong winds. Those are really the main things for blizzard conditions, in which we're going to have that across a lot of the Northeast here. But yeah, out there by Essex County, I mean, yeah, we are talking some pretty good amounts. You wanted me to look at Bergen County too. I think that's how you say that. Let's see. We'll pull up this as well, New Jersey. Yeah, so pretty much same area for the most part, but yeah, 18 to 22 inches, winds gusting as high as 50 miles an hour. So it'll be pretty nasty out there. So just be sure to be ready for the storm here. Pushback says, how is Plainfield, New Jersey looking? Can't really find any info. It's all over the place. I got you, my friend. Let me pull up Plainfield for you. So this is from the National Weather Service. This is the why does it bring me to Illinois? Hold up. Here we go, New Jersey. So Plainfield area, we do have a blizzard warning in effect. So right now, the National Weather Service has you in for total snow accumulations between 18 to 22 inches here. And we could see some gusts as high as 50 miles an hour. Now remember, wind gusts is what the winds could peak to for usually a few seconds. Sustained winds is a constant wind speed. This is when gusts as high as 50. So we'll be sustained under 50. So constant winds, probably more like 20 to 30 miles an hour, but we'll possibly be gusting some strong wind gusts as high as 50. But yeah, 18 to 22 inches is what we have here for you. So let's hop over here back to the models and stuff, and I'll go ahead and show you what we're talking about here down in time. So for you, yeah, New Jersey's really going to start to feel it pretty much later on this afternoon. Anywhere from 1 to 3 p.m. roughly is when like the HRRR model here really shows maybe a little bit of a rain-snow mixture converting more into snowfall. And like I said, the reason why we're having some rain mixing is because the lower atmosphere, towards the ground and a couple thousand feet up above ground level is warm, which is allowing for the snow as it falls to melt just before hitting the ground. So it's almost pure snow. But as the surface does cool down, you can see, the surface does cool down. Eventually, it will turn into pure snow, and that's why it's really hard for, for this particular system. Why it was really hard to kind of settle in a specific amount of accumulation, is because of the fact that there is a lot of warm air involved, which really can throw off those totals quite a bit. So, anyways, Bill says, Olympic hockey in the morning, blizzard storm in the evening. As a weather nerd, can't think of a better day. Well, there you go. There you go. Starting to rain up here in Essex County. Gotcha. Yeah, so here, let's hop back over to radar. This is current radar view as of right now. So, yeah, it definitely looks like over here by New Jersey, we do have a little bit of rain, maybe a little bit of snow up for northern New Jersey popping in. But, yeah, that'll eventually transition into pure snow as we work our way down in time. You can see that we do have ourselves a little bit of snow mixing in for like northern Virginia as well. You can see, especially for those upper elevations, obviously the higher altitude you go, the thinner the air pressure is and the cooler the air is because of that mostly. Because lower air pressure, I'm not gonna get too much into the nerdy details of it, but yeah, lower air pressure, the molecules spread out more and it cools down the conditions a bit more. But yeah, those upper elevations are seeing some more snow because it's cold enough for it, essentially. The surface is cold enough to keep it snow, so it can't really melt before it gets to the ground. Anyways, Mark says, up early coffee, like button. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing good, man. Good to see you. But yeah, guys, if y'all have any zip codes or anything you want me to look at, so if you don't know how it works, you throw down a zip code. I'll do my old zip code here, for example, 20181. This is in Virginia where I used to live here. So if it'll let me type it, 20181. It'll bring me over here to Prince William County. So this is where I used to live. Winter weather advisory. There you go, 2 to 4 inches. So I basically will take your zip code, we'll pull it in. I'll show you exactly how much snow you could be potentially seeing and the impacts included. So if y'all have any zip codes, do not hesitate to ask. But yeah, they changed that from a winter storm watch to a winter weather advisory. This is actually, I still have family in this area. Snow accumulations 2 to 4 inches, winds gusting as high as 35. DC has 2 to 4, yep, as well. It's crazy how much it changes, over a short distance. Like, for example, look at this. You got DC, right? So DC is in for, 2 to 4 inches of snow. Then you go over to Dover, Delaware, which is really not that far. Dover, Delaware, look at the total amount of snowfall. We're talking 12 to 20 inches. So you can really see just how much the totals drastically change, over a short distance. It's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. All right, Ragtie, I got you, my friend. Here, let's pull up your zip code. You're outside of the warnings, watches, and advisories. We might see a little bit of snow showers. I don't think we're going to see much more than an inch. We're probably not going to see a whole lot of snow at all. You're not included in those warnings or anything like that, so you should be fine. All right, Mark, got you, my friend. Let's see what Mark is in for. So, Mark, you're actually under a winter storm warning. Between 5 and 12 inches of snow is expected. Locally higher amounts possible. Actually, it says expected. So some areas could even receive higher amounts. But right now, you're between 5 and 12 inches of snowfall. Winds gusting as high as 40 to 50 miles per hour is expected out here. So definitely pretty nasty. So stay safe out there, Mark. Let's see. Bill says at least the snow isn't going to be a solid sheet of ice for 3 weeks. That is so true. That is so true. Yeah, a lot of my family up in Virginia still, they got that one snowstorm, a while back, and we had that crazy amount of cold air that just did not go away. I mean, it was ridiculously cold, and so it just basically turned into a solid sheet of ice. But yeah, with this system, it shouldn't because I think it'll warm up. It shouldn't be as cold essentially, which is good. Anyways, let's see here. Sports wants me to take a look at Wilmington, Massachusetts. Gotcha. Here, let's pull this up here. All right, so you, my friend, you're under a winter storm warning. You're not far from those blizzard warnings, though, but we are talking accumulations between 10 and 20 inches of snowfall. So that's quite a range. That's quite a difference in numbers there. But yeah, 10 to 20 inches of snow from the Weather Service, and winds gusting as high as 55 miles per hour. So still, honestly, this is not far from blizzard conditions. I ain't gonna lie. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe, obviously it depends, but, with the winds gusting as high as 55 and, seeing 10 to 20 inches, that's almost blizzard conditions. That's like right there. But anyways, be careful out there, my friend. Please be careful. All right, Kobe, I got you, my friend. Let's see what we got for you. So you, over here in West Virginia, you have a winter storm warning. So, yeah, totals right now are for 2 to 7 inches. So you're not seeing a whole lot of snow. 2 inches is not a lot. 7 inches, a decent amount of snowfall. But 2 to 7 inches, winds gusting as high as 35 miles per hour. So, you'll be at least seeing a little bit of something out here, but it's not going to be anything comparable for our folks up by the coastal Northeast here. Anyways, I do want to take a moment, y'all. So let's hop back over to models for a minute. I do want to bring you guys over here to the winds because, once again, the winds are going to be a massive, massive problem here. Here, let's go ahead and load up these really fast. So if we hop on over here, like I said, the winds are going to be ridiculously strong. And, I'm a little bit concerned for those coastal areas. We're going to be seeing some of these winds. These are sustained winds, by the way, so constant flow of, some of these areas being 40, 50 mile per hour sustained winds. Over here by like Eastern Long Island, possibly 40, 50 mile per hour winds as well, sustained, and we'll be gusting in some areas over 70 miles an hour. But yeah, the thing is, especially for like Eastern Massachusetts coast here, we're going to be having, here, let me pick a different color so you can see it on the map here. We're going to be having a lot of winds that's going to be really just kind of pushing right against the coast of Eastern Massachusetts. So that's going to be moving a lot of water inland, and that's going to create a lot of a pretty big flooding, coastal flooding concern there. So that's something we got to look out for too. But yeah, sustained winds of 50 or so miles an hour. Some areas, maybe upwards towards 60, but those gusts are going to be a lot higher. Overall, which, once again, we're talking maybe 70 mile per hour wind gusts, for like Eastern Massachusetts, bits of Rhode Island, Eastern Long Island, and like areas like Nantucket are going to see some really, really strong winds out here. Anyways, let's see here. All right, William, gotcha. Here, let's hop on back over here. Let's see what we got going on for you, my friend. So you are up here in Rhode Island. Okay, so you have a blizzard warning in effect. Blizzard conditions expected, total snow accumulations between 1 and 2 feet. Winds gusting as high as 70 miles per hour. So yeah, you're one of those areas that's going to be seeing some really strong winds more than likely with this system. So definitely please be careful with that. But yeah, between 1 and 2 foot of snow. So the problem with, with having strong winds associated with snowfall is that it really likes to pile up. You're going to have some snow drifts. So basically you're going to have some parts where we could see, even more than 2 foot of snow piled up. Doesn't mean it more than 2 foot fell. It just means that the wind's kind of blown it up against buildings and stuff like that, which can snow people in, actually. So definitely is, going to be pretty nasty. But yeah, winds gusting as high as 70. Please be careful out there. Please be careful. Let's see here. Sheep says, I'm right on the lines as well, outside of Philly. Zip code. All right, I got you, my friend. Let's see what we got going on for you. I'll let you know. All right, so you are right on the edge there. Winter storm warning here. The National Weather Service has you in for 16 to 22 inches of snowfall. Definitely no shortage of snow there. But yeah, winds gusting as high as 40 miles per hour. So your winds aren't as crazy as, say, areas further east of you. You're a little lucky because you're not right on the coast. It's really those coastal areas that'll really see the strong winds here. Because you got that land interaction. The winds flowing over land, it disrupts the flow. So it'll slow down a little bit, but still, could be pretty gusty. But yeah, definitely still seeing some strong winds still even associated with it. So. What radar do I use? I use all kinds of different radars. This one here is WeatherWise, and then this one over here is Aguacero, which is pretty nice. But yeah, this one's I use a lot for models and stuff, which really useful, really nice. Anyways, let's see. I'm still awake because I can't get this blizzard out of my mind. That's so true. That's so true. I can imagine it. We have a big snowstorm. Let's see here in Camden County, New Jersey. Well, be careful out there. Yeah, New Jersey, literally the entire state of New Jersey is under a blizzard warning. I mean, there is not one area in New Jersey that's not under a blizzard warning right now. I mean, the entire state has a blizzard warning in effect here. Same thing for Rhode Island, too. The entire state, even Delaware, too. Yeah, Delaware, New Jersey, Rhode Island, the entire state has a blizzard warning in effect. It's crazy. Went outside to test my snowblower yesterday. Engine pulley, ropey start, ripped right off. Oh, that's not good. That could not have happened at a worse time. Goodness. See, your local news says 8 to 12 inches. Well, these are totals from the Weather Service. So these are strictly coming from the National Weather Service based off of the warnings that we have. These are the ones I would go off of. These are the ones I would. News agencies tend to adjust their snow totals quite a bit, for what they believe. But if it was up to me, I always go off the Weather Service. It's the best, to go off of is the Weather Service total. So I give you guys the real info that you need. Let's see here. New Jersey kind of has an 1888 start with the rain transitioning. Is that system that I made a YouTube short on that one day? It was a long time ago. I made a YouTube short on some of the heaviest snowfall. Crazy. Anyways, Lauren, I got you, my friend. Let's see what we got going on for you. Let's bring up your area. So you, apparently this isn't showing up anywhere in the U.S. Did you get your zip code right? You did say East Shore, Virginia, so let me just use that instead, actually. East Shore, Virginia. Yeah, for some reason, it's not wanting to pull this up. I mean, I have East Shore, this area, maybe? Maybe you're up by Matthews? You got a winter storm warning out here. I'm not sure if this is the right area, though. 4 to 6 inches, winds could gust as high as 35. Yeah, check on your zip code. Make sure that's right, because it would have pulled up if it was correct. Let's see. I agree, my friend. That's why I come here to watch you and not them. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate it. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, I'm here to help you guys. We'll be here to keep you guys in the loop. If y'all have any questions, I'll be here to answer them. And like I said, if y'all have any zip codes you want me to look at too, I'll be more than happy to do so. Just to help you guys out, let y'all know what you're in for. But let's take a peek here at what's going on now. So this right here, this is the current stage we're at. We do have quite a bit of rain happening now. There's not a whole lot of snow yet that's falling. We do have a lot of snow showers. A lot of lake effect snow over here by the Great Lakes right now. Definitely quite a bit. But yeah, right now for the main system here, you can see that we have a lot of rain off the Carolina coast, off Virginia coast. Virginia seeing a bit of rain, a little bit of snow definitely starting to mix in for those upper elevations there, where the air pressure's thinner. The air's cooler. So yeah, definitely we're starting to see some snow up there, but it's going to be a little bit. It's not until the models didn't really show until like pretty much late afternoon, going into evening, is whenever this really transitions into a lot of heavy snow here. Let's bring back up the models here. So this is 12 o'clock here this afternoon. This is noon. Still seeing a lot of rain likely involved here. A bit of snow throughout the Appalachian Mountains here for portions of the Blue Ridge going up into Pennsylvania here. So then we approach like right around 6 o'clock, and you can still see maybe a little bit of rain mixing in. Because, like I mentioned, we do have a lot of little bit of lower level warming here. So towards our ground level, the temperature is just a little bit too warm, which is melting some of the snow before it can actually, reach the ground, which is why we're actually seeing a lot of those totals were fluctuating quite a bit because of the uncertainty of how much warm air and how long it would last. But yeah, eventually once we approach into the evening, all that warm air will be out and everything will cool down. But definitely is going to be pretty crazy. Yeah, our folks up by the Northeast, see, these areas are getting a lot because the system's really going to be wrapping in a lot of moisture at this time. And the temperatures will be cold enough to sustain heavy snow for hours upon hours. So it'll be quite a nasty storm for a lot of people here. Let's see here. Yeah, that is true, Emmanuel. Absolutely. All right, let's see. Jay Fresh wants me to look at a zip code. Also, I work overnight 7:30 p.m. to 6 a.m. Should I call off? Let me pull up where you're at. Let me see your hazards first, and then I will determine here. Oh, why is my... There we go. Yeah, my thing was being weird for a minute. All right, let's hop over here. Let me pull up your area. See what we got going on for you. You're up in... Okay, so you work overnight. Yeah, your totals are 16 to 22 inches and gusts as high as 45. I would recommend taking off. You don't want to be out in this. You don't want to travel out in this. Work is not worth your safety. Going to work during this is not worth your safety. Given those conditions, yeah, I would not. I wouldn't. If they don't call you off, that's ridiculous. Don't go to work. Do not. Let's see. Lauren wants to know, what about, Pennsylvania, Virginia. Oh, gotcha, down here. Wanting to know about the winds. So the winds are going to be pretty darn strong. Luckily, they're not going to be as crazy as some areas further up north. Here, let's bring this. So right here by the peninsula part of Virginia, we are talking a good 30 to 40 mile an hour sustained winds. So that's constant winds. Now gusts, I'll bring those up here now. Let's bring up our accumulated max gusts. Now these out here will still be pretty darn strong, maybe 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. So peak winds could get up to 50 to 60. Now for our folks further up north, especially for like eastern Massachusetts, eastern Long Island, portions of Rhode Island. Look at these. Look at these wind speeds here. Gusts up to 70, maybe to 80 up there by the shore. Really, really strong stuff. All right, Carrie wants me to pull up the zip code. I gotcha, my friend. Let's pull this up. So we are under winter weather advisory. Let's see, accumulations up to 2 inches and winds gusting as high as 40 miles an hour. So you're not seeing a whole lot of snow, but you still could definitely see a little bit of gusty winds associated with this here. So I would, just still, if you have anything loose outside, I'd recommend bringing it in. Definitely would highly recommend that. You don't want to have anything loose outside that can go flying away. Not to mention you'd lose and damage your property that way, but it also wouldn't be very good for others, because the last thing you want is for your outdoor patio furniture to go through somebody's window. So I would not recommend keeping it outside. If you have it, bring it indoors. That goes for really everybody who's involved in this big storm. Thomas wants to be looking at the zip code. I got you. Jay Fresh, thank you so much for joining the tropical storm team, my friend. I really appreciate that. I was on the right panel all along. All right, so you, my friend, you're under a blizzard warning. So yeah, you're in some of the heavy stuff. Right now, the National Weather Service has you in for 18 to 25 inches of snow. So a lot of snow, so between pretty much 1 to 2 feet of snow. And we could see some winds gusting as high as 45. So definitely will be gusting pretty heavily out here. So there'll likely be some blowing snow and stuff like that. So definitely got to keep a close eye on this storm as you go through it. Just like I said, please do not travel. This goes to really everybody. Do not travel out in this thing. It's way too dangerous. What's up, Willie? Good to see you. Saying good morning to all. See zip code. Thank you. You're very welcome. I got you, my friend. Let me see what we got going on here for you. So you're actually not far from where we just looked at. 16 to 24 inches is what we have for you. Winds gusting as high as 60, though. So the gusts are actually a little bit higher, the closer to the coast, because, like I mentioned, you have that land interaction. As winds flow ashore, the obstacles, from the terrain slows down the winds, actually. And so, being in the open water where it's pretty much flat, the winds can flow freely, and they're usually a little bit stronger in that case. So anyways, but yeah, definitely strong winds, heavy snow totals expected. Do not go outside. Do not travel during this. Make sure you have enough food, water, and stuff like that to go through the storm here. But please be careful, my friend. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. Carrie says, boo, we have enormous amount of rain coming down right now. Ugh. Yeah, some of that will actually even freeze, too, which could be a problem. Like black ice and stuff. You need to look out for that. While the roads might look wet, if the temperature's been below freezing for a while, it might not be wet. It might be frozen. So that's something that you got to look out for as well. So the areas that do get a little bit of rain, that'll probably freeze into some ice. But anyways, all right, let's hop back over here, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and bring back up our models here. So, like I mentioned, as we progress down in time here, we're definitely going to be seeing some real heavy snow be falling here with this system. Right now where we stand at the moment, here, let's bring back up our current radar. We have a lot of rain that's falling, across the mid-Atlantic here, just off the coast of mid-Atlantic. We are seeing a bit of snow, mixing in here for areas like Northern Virginia. The Great Lakes, like we mentioned, we have a lot of lake effect snow and stuff like that going on at the moment. But as we progress our way into later on this evening, the cold air is going to start to overtake. We're going to start to see a lot more cooler air involvement, which is going to transition a lot of this back into snow. So we're starting off as a little bit of a rain-snow mixture, but for a lot of people, it'll eventually transition back over. But anyways, guys, if y'all have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. Here, let's bring up our wind gusts here. So this is from the HRRR model. So this is once accumulated wind gusts, what the max winds could be here. But yeah, I'm a little concerned for a lot of the coastal areas here for these winds, but really for our folks out here by eastern Massachusetts, Rhode Island, eastern Long Island. We're seeing gusts as high as 70, maybe to 80 miles an hour or so. So it's definitely going to be really strong, with those gusts and stuff like that. So that's going to be another big issue. Is not just the snow, but also the the heavy winds associated with it. So the mixture, because the fact that we have the heavy winds and the heavy snow, that'll really lower visibilities and stuff. In which of course that is going to allow for those blizzard conditions to really be there. Blizzard conditions is pretty much, you got heavy snow falling for hours, strong winds, poor visibilities. That's what really defines a blizzard. So anyways, but everybody, if y'all have any zip codes you want me to look at, I'll be more than happy to help and let y'all know what y'all are in for. But like I mentioned, y'all, be sure that y'all are ready for the system, because you don't really have too much more time to prepare for the system. Be sure that you have enough food and water to last you at least a couple weeks, just to be safe. Make sure if you have a generator, make sure it's filled up with gas. Make sure it's up to maintenance and stuff like that. And I recommend getting that stuff done as soon as possible, because the system, it's already starting to go down here. As you can see, right now, looking at the current radar, we do have a lot of snow that's starting to develop here up by Northern Virginia and portions of like Pennsylvania and stuff. But it's only going to get worse as time goes on here. So we'll definitely just need to just get things done as quick as possible. So that's what I'd highly recommend here. But anyways, like I said, y'all, if y'all need anything, I will be here to help you guys. Sheep says, don't end this earlier. So stay on till at least 8 a.m. I bet a lot of people are just waking up. We'll join the stream. I'll stream as long as I can. I can't, say I will be streaming, because I do have a couple things I do need to get done this morning. I can't make any promises, but I'll stream as long as I can here. I'll stream as long as I can. All right, so let's hop back over here. Like I mentioned, we have a lot of blizzard warnings in effect, all the way from the Virginia coast, all the way up here to pretty wild. They actually, they added a county or a coastal area here in New Hampshire, actually. So coastal New Hampshire now has blizzard warnings in effect. Wow. Okay, so that goes all the way up to New Hampshire now. Bill says, good morning, Andrew. Blizzard warning updated to 70 miles an hour. Things are getting real. Wow. Be careful, dude. Yeah, some of these winds are going to be ridiculously strong. We're definitely talking some heavy stuff. I'm trying to find my light thing here. Where's it at? I was going to turn that light down a little bit because it's like blazing in my eyes. It's always fun to deal with. All right, let's see. But yeah, 70-mile-an-hour winds is definitely no joke. So please be careful. All right, so let's hop back over here to the future radar here, or the simulated reflectivity. So, like I mentioned, everything's really going to start to pop off, as we approach into the early afternoon here. That's when we're really going to see a lot of rain transition in the snow, as for the later portion of the afternoon, going into the early evening here. You can see by 6 o'clock p.m., we do have a lot of really heavy snow falling, across the Northeast at this point here. Still Virginia, kind of seeing a little bit of a rain and snow mixture here. And, like I mentioned, that's where a lot of the models were really having a hard time determining the snow amounts, the totals. That's why they've been fluctuating so much, is because of the fact that some of the models were showing more warm air than others. So, the total amount of warm air was unknown, and how warm it would be and how long it would last and where it would be at. And so the models were having a little bit of an issue kind of working that out here. But, pretty much by the later evening today, though, all that warm air should be out of the question. This is showing 10 p.m. on Sunday. At this point, it'll be really coming down here, pretty good here. So, or 10 p.m. here for today at this point. But, yeah, definitely, it's really going to start kicking up here later this evening. Manuel says, hopefully everyone that wanted a blizzard gets over that after the storm. Yeah. See, snowstorms are one thing. Blizzards are harsh. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah, this is not your, your typical snowstorm. This one's a pretty strong one. Because, with this one specifically, not only is it heavy snow, but you're also adding a lot of strong winds here to the bunch as well. So, we're adding a lot of really strong winds, plus the heavy snow, which is creating these conditions that's just, really going to be quite harsh. Blizzards are the only reason I want a snowmobile. Hey, there you go. Get around with, like, people in Alaska. I know a lot of people in Alaska have those snowmobiles. Yeah, those things look like a lot of fun. But anyways, like I said, don't be out traveling in this, guys. Because it would be so easy to get stranded and you'd be stuck for days. So would not recommend doing that. And just traveling in general is not advised, because you could easily get stuck in snow. Even if you have a 4-wheel drive, with this amount of snowfall, yeah, it's even a 4-wheel drive have a hard time driving in this in these conditions and stuff. So, let's see here. Cherish says my weather app shows the system done in Baltimore midday. That is not right. No, Baltimore maybe midday on Monday, but not today. Yeah, if you're talking about today, no. Tomorrow, though, here from Monday, it should be done roughly by midday. That's what the model suggests. This is the HRRR model, by the way. Yeah, we were running the 06 UTC. We do have the 11 Zulu coming out. Yeah, it's not done. Not even started rendering, really. Yeah, here's the latest HRRR that we have. Yeah, it really gets rid of a lot of that rain by 6 p.m. Eastern, especially out by Virginia. You can see where there's a lot of heavy rain and snow mixing in. But temperatures should be getting below freezing or near it right around 6 p.m. or so. So, yeah. But yeah, for Baltimore, though, yeah, it'll be out probably sometime tomorrow midday. But anyways, guys, if y'all have any questions, let us know. Here, let's see here. So, like I said, we do have a lot of blizzard warnings now in effect. They now extend all the way up into New Hampshire, So all of these areas here are under a blizzard warning. So that includes portions of coastal Virginia, coastal Maryland, Delaware, the entire state of Delaware, and New Jersey, all of Long Island, southern Connecticut, all of Rhode Island, as well as eastern Massachusetts. And I got a question for you guys. Why is Rhode Island called Rhode Island if it's not an island? I mean, there's some islands in Rhode Island, but the main thing's not Rhode Island. So you don't even attempt to travel in this thing. Travel will be impossible. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just don't even try to travel in it. You put yourself in danger, and honestly, in some cases, others in danger too. So don't be traveling in this. Like I said, if you have anything to get done, make sure you get it done before the storm happens. Like I said, make sure you already have enough food and water to last you. If you have any, like I said, if you have a generator, make sure it's full on gas. Make sure you have enough, make sure it's up to maintenance, essentially. Let's see. But yeah, just make sure it has a fresh oil change if you haven't changed it in a while. Make sure you have enough gas in your tank. Have extra gas aside too, which would be good. Just be sure to have all that stuff ready. All right, let's hop back over here to the winds. See, Rhode Peninsula didn't sound right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why Rhode Island is like it's not an island. I mean, Long Island. Is Long Island? Yeah, Long Island is an island, but barely. There's your water. It separates. See, Long Island, it makes sense because it's a Long Island, right? Rhode Island. Okay, I'm over that. I'm over that now. All I know is when I traveled to Massachusetts, I saw a sign, "Welcome to Rhode Island," and 15 minutes later, saw a sign, "Thanks for coming." Okay, that's really funny. Well, I mean, yeah, Rhode Island is the smallest state in the U.S. It's honestly crazy. It's even a state of how tiny it is, and literally like 50 miles tall or something like that. Thanks for stopping by. Oh man, yeah, that's pretty good. But speaking of Rhode Island, these areas are going to get some really strong winds here. 60, 70 mile per hour wind gusts or so. Eastern Massachusetts. I mean, yeah, we're talking also 70, 80 mile an hour winds out there. Nantucket is going to be in for quite some strong winds here. New Jersey's coast is more of 60, maybe upwards of 70 mile per hour wind gusts along the coast. Over here by Delaware, we're talking coastal winds about 60 or so. Yeah, the good news is that the further you go inland, the winds do die down a bit because, like I mentioned, the terrain has obstacles, and the wind flowing over it tends to slow it down a bit. So, a lot of the coastal areas are really in the heaviest of it. Smallest state, but we have total different weather at each end. What, in Rhode Island? Can't be changing that much. The entire state of Rhode Island is under a blizzard warning right now. 1 to 2 feet, 70. Yeah, the entire state of Rhode Island's warned for 1 to 2 foot of snow and winds as high as 70 miles an hour. Now, remember, these are not sustained winds. These are not constant winds of 70. These are what the winds could, gust up to, what they could peak to. Could be up to, about 70 mile per hour winds or so. I can say the amount of rain we've gotten in Yorktown, Virginia. I can see this translating to 24 inches of snow further north. Yeah, I mean, problem for Virginia is, they're having a little bit too much warm air involved. In the beginning, which is, lowering snow totals, increasing rain totals. Now, further up north, obviously, yeah, the temperatures are a little bit cooler in some spots, which also, while the storm strengthens, as that low strengthens, it'll increase precipitation rates, and it's just, it'll be a lot heavier. But anyways, guys, if y'all have any zip codes or anything you want me to look at too, I'll be more than happy to help. Gotta put on my fancy glasses now. I gotta do that after a while. Sometimes my eyesight goes pretty bad from staring at all my monitors. You'd be surprised. But yeah, like I said, if y'all have any zip codes or anything like that, let us know. Let us know. All right, so here's our current radar. So this is currently where we're at right now. Like I said, we have a lot of lake effect snow going on at the moment over the Great Lakes here. You know, a lot of Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Western Pennsylvania, New York State, seeing a lot of scattered snow showers and stuff. Yeah, definitely quite a bit. And we do have a lot of rain over here towards Virginia, bits of, North Carolina. Just off the coast of the Carolinas here, quite a bit of rain. But, yeah, that's going to really wrap up once we approach, into later on today. Bill says, I thought most of the models overdid the wind, but the NWS bought into it. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the models did show some really strong winds. I mean, there was a good amount of agreement there. That we would be seeing some strong winds. I mean, a lot of that's just because of the magnitude of this low here, and how low it actually gets. I mean, like I said, we're talking this system getting down into the, the 970 range, 970 millibar range or whatever. I mean, definitely it's going to be a really, really strong low. And, like I said, I mean, that's equivalent to, in just the low alone, that low pressure alone is equivalent to, pretty much Category 2, Category 3 hurricane. So it's, definitely really, really strong here. All right, let's hop back over here to future models. But yeah, I mean, so this morning, we have a lot of rain, a lot of warmer air. Then we approach noon later on this afternoon here. You can see that. Then we'll start to really pick up some snow, more than likely across like Pennsylvania, northern Virginia here, especially over there by those upper elevations. Which, I mean, now those areas are already seeing some more, and those areas are actually going to be getting more accumulations. We do actually have some winter storm warnings out for these upper elevations here. Yeah, 8 to 12 inches in some of the highest peaks. And then you got the lower elevations here off the mountains, which is like 1 to 3. So quite a drastic difference. And that really shows you just how much more snow you'd get if the temperature was cooler. But yeah, a lot of that warm air from the models really shows a lot of that out by later this evening, by 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. this evening. A lot of that rain should be out, and it should be mostly just pure snow for a lot of people out here by the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Yeah, I don't think the models were overdoing the winds though, Bill. I mean, just the sheer magnitude of the low, how strong it is, and how close it is to shore. I mean, you can see these ISO bars; they are super tight. So, Kendra says, how is New York City looking? Closer look. So New York City is definitely going to be getting some pretty heavy impacts out here. So New York City, we have a blizzard warning in effect for 16 to 24 inches of snow. We could see some winds gusting as high as 60 miles per hour. So definitely blizzard conditions, strong winds, heavy snow for hours, low visibility, stuff like that. That's all contributing to these to this blizzard warning here. But National Weather Service has you between 16 and 24 inches here. Bill says thunderstorm is possible. I hope to hear it. Oh, thunder snow? I mean, yeah, definitely would be possible in some of those heavier snowfall rates and stuff like that. Absolutely. I think it would be possible. Yeah, I mean, some of these flakes too are going to be fat, like really big fat flakes. Especially once you get into these areas, where we have like 30, 40 dBz, which that's high. If that was actually observed, that'd be a high echo return. That would be really, really big fat flakes. We'll definitely be seeing a lot of that. What is thunder snow again? Thunder snow is pretty much just a snowstorm with thunder. They're pretty rare though. What's up, Jake? Good to see you. Zip code. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you. Here, let's pull up your area here. All right, so you, my friend, under a special weather statement, not seeing any big accumulations here. But we could have some wind gusts as high as 30 miles an hour. Accumulations around an inch or less of snowfall. Yeah, we're not really going to see much of heavy impacts out there by you. It's a lot lower comparing to these eastern coastal areas here. They're a lot heavier. But yeah, you're probably not going to see a whole lot. Live Free says, good morning from my little part of Kentucky. Good morning. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you are doing well. And like I said, y'all, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Maybe leave it a like. It'll be much, much appreciated. Just want to say thank you, everybody, for all the kind love and support this morning. I really appreciate you guys. And like I said, we're here for you. I'll be sure to help you guys out. Jake says, thank you so much. No problem. I got you. Gotcha. All right, let's pull back up our winds here. I do want to overlay wind barbs, too. What's up, Carrot? There we go. There's our wind barbs included. Yeah, I'm really worried about, like, eastern Massachusetts coast here. Because, those winds are going to be flowing right, right onto the eastern shore. Seen Polk County was under a freeze warning. I hope you're nice and warm. Yeah, I'm not really looking forward to that too much. We do have a freeze warning in effect over here in Florida, which is not really the best. Not looking forward to it. How much snow for reading? Some people are saying a lot. Is it reading or Reading? I think it's reading, right? Let's see. Reading. I'm assuming this is. I don't know if this is Massachusetts. Here, let me know what state too. It would help out a lot. I'm not sure if it's Massachusetts or Pennsylvania because there's one for each. Have I done Philly yet? I have not, but I can do it. So Philadelphia. We are under a blizzard warning here. Let's see here. All right, so right now for Philly, we have anywhere from 16 to 22 inches of snowfall, and winds gusting as high as 45 miles per hour. So blizzard warning in effect. So yeah, definitely going to be seeing some of the heavy stuff. Yeah, just be sure that you're ready for it. If you don't have everything already done, you're kind of running out of time to get things going. Just be sure that you have enough food and water to last you a while, stuff like that. And if you have a generator, make sure it's has good oil in it. Make sure you have a good gas in it. Make sure you have enough gas for the generator, stuff like that. Just that would be stuff to get done ASAP before the system really starts coming down. Here, let's hop back over here. Yeah, so here's the current radar now. It looks like Philadelphia is not really seeing a whole lot, but that'll definitely change as time goes on. What's up, Haley? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Given it's almost the end of winter, this is quite the send off. If we don't get anything crazy after this, yeah, I agree. I mean, one of the things is how quick this storm came about. Now, I know the models have been kind of hinting towards it a little bit, but like, I don't know. I feel like, to me anyways, I feel like this storm just kind of popped out of the blue really fast. It was like, oh yeah, by the way, there's a big storm right here. To me anyways, it just felt like everything happened so quickly. And, there was so much disagreement for so long, in the models because, like, a lot of the models weren't really sure on how much warm air would be involved, in the lower atmosphere. A lot of the surface and the lower levels were super warm. which was lowering snow totals and throwing off the models quite a bit because some models showed more warm air for a longer period of time than others, and then others showed like not much warm air, and it's just they all went haywire. Scott says Pennsylvania. Okay. Reading Pennsylvania. Okay, here we go. So you're under a winter storm warning, my friend. You are between 10 and 20 inches of snow and wind gusts as high as 40. Bill says the GFS nailed this one. Broken clock is right 2 times a day. That's true. Yeah, GFS was on it for a while. It was showing the heavier of accumulations. You know what? Euro. I remember looking at Euro yesterday, and Euro was showing like hardly anything. Your radar is showing it's raining in Baltimore, but it's not. Well, let's see here. DBZ is pretty low. Yeah, I mean, it does show a little bit of rain coming in here. Huh. I mean, it is lighter in some areas, so maybe it's really light, or it's just you're in a little bit of a gap. Haven't seen me wear my aviators in a long time. Yeah, glad to have them back. Like I said, after a while of staring at my screen for a while, it's like aviators help my my eyesight quite a bit. Yeah, sheep. It is crazy. There's a lot of people out there that likes to overhype these things and stuff like that. I always I don't play that route. I always make sure to what I'm saying it will actually happen. But yeah, it's crazy just the amount of hype and stuff like that people will give. But yeah, I mean, this storm, there is no making this up. I mean, this is a pretty gnarly storm. Yeah, and what worries me is it's almost like it's the boy who cried wolf. It's like you say it over and over, like, oh, this is gonna be a bad storm. These other forecasts. I'm not naming anybody. I'm not starting drama, but it's just like the boy who cried wolf. Like, you say that you're gonna have these really crazy storms, and then they don't end up materializing as well. And then if you have a really good one like this storm actually is, it'll make people not really believe or trust it as much. And so, yeah, it's not good. Carrot says the GFS, for some reason, has not been too bad this winter. Not perfect, but not horrible. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I've noticed that too. I have noticed that as well. Definitely. Let's see here. Runner says, what about Hagerstown, Maryland? Let me see. Pull it up for you. Hagerstown, Maryland. Okay, so you're under a winter storm warning. Let's see here. Total accumulations between 3 and 6 inches. For elevations above 1,000 foot, snow accumulations of 6 to 12 are expected. Winds gusting as high as 35. Do you know if you're above 1,000 foot? Because if you are, then those accumulations are between 6 and 12, with gusting winds up as high as 35. So, I mean, yeah, the elevation does make a big difference. Anyways, all right, let's hop back on over here. But like I said, if y'all have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. I'll be more than happy to help. See, I wonder if there are any updates this year in the GFS or if it was a big jump in data. I don't know, honestly. I mean, I do know that the GFS is always, some of these models are always getting upgraded. Just like a main reason why we're getting rid of the NAM and everything is because of the fact that, it's kind of outdated and stuff. Haley says the blizzard will be really bad. Yeah, it won't be very good. That's for sure. But anyways, gal, like I said, if y'all have any questions, let us know. You know, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Maybe leaving a like too. It'll be much appreciated. All right, let's hop back over here, y'all. But yeah, another really big thing here is going to be those winds. You know, going to be a really big concern for a lot of the coastal areas here. Like I said, I'm really concerned for our friends, especially up in like eastern Massachusetts. You know, like Rhode Island, eastern Long Island, bits of Connecticut. You know, some of these wind gusts could be as high as like 70 to 80 miles an hour. So I mean, we're definitely going to be seeing some real strong winds out here. So I don't know. I'll be surprised if we get any. Currently raining in 40 degrees. Gotcha. Yeah, it's supposed to cool down a little bit though. The models really do show it cooling down a bit, but I mean, either or. You know, 3 to 6 inches, decent little snowstorm. But yeah, once you get up to 6 to 12-inch range, that's when you really start to see a pretty heavy amount of impacts and stuff. Let's see here. I'm getting a sense of my local Philadelphia news outlets this year. They are always go for the most conservative amounts. I saw the ones say it's better to go low amounts, high rather than high low. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean it's good to, you know, kind of go off of what the models agree on most. That's really the best thing to do, is figure out what the models agree on and stick with it. And whatever they disagree on, throw in the trash. You know, it's good to kind of see what they really agree on. And it's good to average out a lot of things. But it's also important not to ignore any models. You know, it's important to look at every model and, you know, take it as an opinion. You know, the moment you start ignoring models and stuff like that, you know, it's not really the best. I mean, yeah, some models don't have the best of rep, but you know. Anyways, folks, I think I'm probably gonna roll off here this morning. I just want to go ahead and say, everybody, thank you all for joining. I hate to cut it soon, but I do gotta roll off for now. But if you're new, consider subscribing. Maybe even a like. It'll be greatly appreciated. But all right, everybody. Thank you all so much for stopping by. If y'all could, maybe consider sharing this too. But all right, everybody. See y'all on the next one.